hate split scaling. Now, this is a opinion that I've felt strongly about for quite a long time at this point. And it originated from OG Blade. The reason I came to this opinion is because I came to the realization that HSR devs quite struggle at making a split scaling character good enough, right? What usually happens is that they end up being balanced mediocrely because they're too afraid that if they make them split scaling and really good in both, it's going to hurt other DPSs. And then this leads to these characters being some of the worst aging almost every single time, and that's exactly what happened with OG Blade. With him being half attack scaling and being half HP scaling, you're never able to take full advantage of a dedicated buffer's buffs, because guess what? These dedicated buffers towards these specific niches don't have the same split scaling as you do, which makes you suffer because you cannot benefit from the support as much as some other characters could, right? Now, of course, they fixed his split scaling issues, I believe, after his Nova. However, now we are in another situation of another character who I feel like is being purposely put at a little too low of a power level. Nothing egregious, right? I'm not a crazy Doom poster. I don't think Avon is terrible. I don't think he's unplayable. I don't think he's impossibly worth investing into. But objectively, he is probably the worst character, that / worst DPS to invest into in this entire version, right? And the sole reason is they're very clearly scared of making him too strong because he has two different teams in which they need to account for the split scaling and how he synergizes well in both of them, right? And it's frustrating. Please, what's the point of a split scaling character? Just make him dedicated to one and then make him more of a noticeable presence in that team that he's dedicated towards, instead of just dawdling around with trying to make him, usable in other teams. I don't know if it's because of the leakers. They've already put this perception into the audience playing HSR. Oh, there's going to be a mono men team, so now they don't want to let people down. But I promise it's so much better if you just dedicate this guy to either completely the Fua team or completely the Elation team. Because otherwise, with this split scaling, there is no reason to pull this guy meta-wise. He's probably the weakest Elation main DPS in the entirety of the game. And even if he isn't, I'd assume that he's basically only in front of Sparksy, who has a role as a sub DPS for Silverwolf's team, which is going to get an upgrade soon in 4.6 with the release of Pearl. And then when you're talking about the Fua comp, the problem with Avon in this comp is he doesn't give, right? All he does is take. He doesn't give. And usually I'm fine with this. I've talked about it openly before. It's very obvious when you see a main DPS for a team, because 99% of the time they just aren't providing all that much for their team, and instead they are taking. And even in the old days of Fua, this also worked. But with the new age Fua team, this philosophy behind a main DPS taking and not giving does not work, because Ashblade, that double combo, is incredibly strong in terms of their damage output. So it's important to make sure that they're also getting something out of your presence being in the team, and you're not only just taking. And this is why generalist supports are able to be so goddamn competitive, and why E1 Gilgamesh is able to be so goddamn competitive in this Fua team. E1 Gilgamesh shares his 30% self-defense shred buff to the entire team. Ashvale gives 40%, Blade gives 30%. This allows you to hit exactly 100%, and going from 70 to 100% defense shred nearly doubles the effectiveness of that defense shred buff you were getting, right? So With all this being said, there's a very clear issue with Avin in this team, and that's that he needs to give to some extent. He doesn't need to be a Robin SP giving up to 40% defense shred and 20% vulnerability and action advance and energy regen, but he needs to give something. Either his E1's res pen buff becomes team wide, kind of a similar situation to E1 Gilgamesh. Either he's able to maybe, buff their Fua damage a little more, just anything. It is not a good thing if he continues to be completely reliant on his own damage for carrying his value in this team, because the Ash Blade combo is too strong. They do as much, if not more damage than Avin when we're talking total damage share, and we're getting to the point where we have supports who can basically double your team's damage. So when your Avin is not giving anything, and sure, Avin holds the majority damage in this team, he is always going to lose to another support who is nearly doubling the damage output of the Ash Blade combo, while also having things like energy regen, having things like action advance, all these unique gimmicks. And then they even have further support Eidolons to buff their damage even more, right? E1 Robin increasing the defense shred buff she can have, E4 Welt increasing 30% res down, E2 Robin recording the team's damage and then dishing it out, and it only clears half instead of all like Cypher, which makes it very, very good for attack spam. This is the issue with Avin. Stop trying to make him split scaling. Dedicate him to either the Fua team and give him the philosophy so that either in his base kit or in his early Eidolons, he's able to buff the team as well instead of just himself, or give up on the Fua team, dedicate him towards the Elation team, where that team, it makes significantly more sense for him to be just a damage dealer and not buffing his team, right? Go all into that. Stop trying to get the best of both worlds, because HSR historically just sucks at creating split scaling characters. They never go well in this game, and I don't understand why. They always undersell these split scaling characters. I don't know what they're afraid of. Genuinely, it does not make sense to me, and it is completely beyond me, right? Jeez, I just went on a rant for sure. I apologize. But I just felt like I had to get that out there. I've held this opinion for a long time, and current Avin beta, I'm not even pulling Avin, keep in mind, right? I'm not pulling him. I already decided to use E1 Gilgamesh with my Fua comp, because E1 Gilga is more synergistic with E2 M-Blade, which, that it gets into another thing. Because he's split scaling, and he's an Elation character, most of his damage has to do with Elation, he doesn't take advantage of damage bonus buffs. So he doesn't take advantage of M-Blade's base damage bonus buff of 50%, and then the best Eidolon investment in the entirety of the Fua comp, which is E2 M-Blade, is also another damage buff that he can't take advantage of. Like, oh my god. Like, what are they thinking when it comes to this character? It's just so beyond me. Hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great night. I apologize for making you guys listen to my rant. Oh my god, you guys can see it's 5 in the morning for me too. Peace out.